Good morning, guys. Welcome to Professor Vipin's YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to understand the Rafale deal in complete detail. Now, I have a lot of points in front of me. In fact, my notepad file is covering up half the screen in front of me. So I want to, in fact, get into all these details without having to miss out on any important topic. So, the Rafale deal controversy is a political controversy related to the purchase of 36 multi-role fighter aircraft at a price estimate of 7.8 billion euros by the Defense Ministry of India from France's Dassault Aviation. Dassault is the company that makes the airplanes Rafale. Now, the origin of the deal lies in the Indian MRCA competition, a multi-billion-dollar contract to supply 126 multi-role combat aircraft. So, MRCA refers to multi-role combat aircraft. Now, what do they mean by multi-role combat aircraft? Is just that these airplanes are able to serve multiple capabilities. For example, they're able to take off from, say, from the sea, that is an aircraft carrier, they're able to take off, they're able to take off from a standard runway, they're able to operate in different conditions, and so on. So the medium multi-role combat aircraft competition was also known as the MRCA tender. It was a competition bid to supply 126 of these aircrafts to the Indian Air Force. Now the 6 competing companies which were looking to supply these aircrafts were, of course, Dassault, the Typhoon, the F-16, the FA-18, the Saab Gripen or the Griffin, and the MiG-35. Now, India has always had a good deal with Russians, so the Russians also competed with this competition. Now, eventually, after a lot of detailed investigation, the Indian Air Force finally decided to narrow down their bids between the Typhoon and the Dassault Rafale. Now, as of January 31st, 2012, it was announced that Dassault Rafale will be supplying these airplanes at a relatively lower cost. Now, the deal had been reported at initially costing about 28 or 30 billion dollars as of 2014. Now, the deal had in fact got into a bit of hiccups. Dassault refused to take responsibility for the HAL manufactured Rafales, as it had its reservations about HAL's ability to accommodate the complex manufacturing and the technology transfers into the aircraft. So what they mean here is, when airplanes are being manufactured or any company is being manufactured, Rafale felt that, okay, HAL may not have the competency to make these airplanes because HAL in the past has found it very difficult to manufacture an indigenous aircraft, which is the Tejas, of course. Now, in 2017, while campaigning for the Gujarat Assembly election, that is for the state election, Rahul Gandhi raised the issue of Rafale deal to attack Narendra Modi. He repeatedly alleged that there was an escalation in price and favoritism towards Reliance Defence Limited. Now, Manohar Parrikar justified the cost, saying that the aircraft had been often eclipsed by the cost of the equipment in order to make the combat-ready airplane. Now, what they mean is manufacturing the airplane is different versus making the airplane ready for combat. What do they mean by combat? They mean that in order to fit missiles, in order to fit the necessary technical equipment so that this airplane can cause some destructive power, the cost in fact was the incremental increase, is what he mentioned. Now, he said that the new agreement include the development of the integration of the helmet mounted display and the serviceability agreement. He blamed the predecessor in the previous United Progressive Alliance, that is the Congress government, A.K. Anthony, for delaying the acquisition by creating uncertainty over the lowest bidder. Now, this issue was not such a big deal in 2017, but in 2018, it was blown out of proportion. Now, in February 2018, in response to the demands of the details of the agreement to be made public, Nirmala Sitharaman said that the details are classified under a security agreement between the Indian and French governments. Now, I do not understand the Congress's interest in order to make the details related to national security public. It's not wise for India to tell the world that we have these many airplanes and these many airplanes are fitted with the following missiles, with the following defense technology. It's simply going to make it easier for aggressors like China and Pakistan to use their intelligence and possibly attack India when needed. So I say this because when you look at these sports athletes, be it an MMA fighter, be it a runner, or be it a bodybuilder, they never make their training public because they do not want the competition to understand how these guys are training, because the competition might be able to attack them later. So, and the Indian National Congress directly blames the Indian government led by Narendra Modi for overlooking the capabilities of the government-owned Hindustan Aeronautics Limited or HAL to favor Reliance for the offset deal with Dassault. Now, Indian Defence Minister again, Nirmala Sitharaman, damn good lady by the way, rejected these charges, saying that HAL was dropped from the jet deal by the previous UPA regime after the French manufacturer refused to agree with the production terms. So it was not Indian, that is the Narendra Modi government, the BJP government that dropped HAL from the deal. It was in fact the Congress itself that dropped them from the deal. Now in September 2018, there was a PIL which the Supreme Court had to hear on this deal. So in December 2018, the court dismissed all petitions related to irregularities of this deal, giving a clean chit to the BJP. Now, they got a clean chit on three aspects, that is the decision making, the pricing of this deal, and the selection of an Indian partner. Now, the Congress government wasn't happy with this deal. So what I'm seeing with the Congress government is they're not happy with any decision that might favor the BJP. The Congress government is like a kid who is unhappy with any decision and is constantly under the impression that he is right. So even if I were to, so for example, the Congress government is like, they believe that the earth is flat. I will send a probe to the moon, and the moon is going to take pictures of the earth showing that the earth is a sphere, the earth is a globe. The Congress government will refuse to believe me on that front because they believe that their beliefs are right. And because they believe that their beliefs are right, they will not support any evidence, any rational evidence, which will compromise on their beliefs of what they understand. So this is a case where even when the Supreme Court says, the Supreme Court, the word supreme is in that name, and they refuse to believe what the Supreme Court has to say. So, after the Supreme Court comes up with the decision, the Congress government repeatedly continues to allege that there is some scam going on with this. So, your interference in the Rafale deal, and you have single-handedly undermined India's position. The Congress President Rahul Gandhi went on to attack Narendra Modi in this. He went on to say that he has robbed the Air Forces by 30,000 crores and given that to Anil Ambani. We have been raising this since 1 year. Now a report comes where this is the most interesting part. The report comes saying that the Defense Ministry officials say that the Prime Minister was holding parallel negotiations with the French government. Now the Hindu newspaper was able to gather some letter and say that the Prime Minister's office was having parallel negotiations with the French government. Now, what do they mean by these parallel negotiations? Parallel negotiations here refer to, apart from the Defense Ministry involved in these transactions, you also have the Prime Minister's office doing negotiations for this deal. Now remember, the French government have also admitted that there is nothing irregular about the pricing. The French government has also made it clear that Reliance was not the standard offer that was given to them. Now, even after this, the Congress government is not happy with this. They want that their logic is, if you say that 1,000 times that the Rafale deal was irregular, the Rafale deal was in fact involving a lot of corruption. If you say that 1,000 times, the lie becomes the truth. This is the way they want to approach this matter. So they are saying that in this letter, there is some parallel negotiations happening between the Prime Minister's office and the Defense office as well, with the French government, of course. Now, this, like I said, was published by the Hindu newspaper, and they forgot, or rather, they conveniently chose to ignore an important reply by the Manohar Parrikar. Now, the Manohar Parrikar went on to say that it appears that the Prime Minister's office and French President's office are monitoring the progress of the issue, which is an outcome of the summit meeting. He says that the paragraph 5 on this letter is an overreaction. The Defense Secretary may resolve the issue by consulting with the Prime Minister. Now, according to the Congress, the Defense Ministry was unaware of these parallel negotiations that was happening between the Prime Minister's office and the Defense Ministry of the French government. So this is something that the Hindu newspaper went on to bring into light. So this is something that Rahul Gandhi went on to attack. And like I said, the letter that he was using to attack was conveniently cropped out. The most important parts of the letter was conveniently cropped out. So to summarize the lengthy discussion that we've been having so far, the Congress government wants to say that this deal is a scam, and they feel that if you say that this deal is a scam 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. So this is something that they're looking to go ahead and use for their political campaigns. And like I said before, even after the Supreme Court said that there is nothing irregular in this deal, they are unhappy. They want to say that, there is something wrong, and hopefully, try to gain some votes through this. But of course, there is nothing irregular in this. I think Congress is confusing itself because they've had so much of history when it comes to doing scams. It's stupid to hear the Congress president talk like this because this is a man who is out on bail or the National Herald scam. And to hear a person who is involved in such a huge scam to talk about an alleged, a possible scam, but I won't even consider a possibility here because the Supreme Court has dismissed any possibility of that. To hear a person who's actually involved in a scam talk about this is extremely foolish. So I hope you guys understood what has been happening in the whole Rafale deal. It is a lengthy topic indeed. So anyway, folks, thank you for listening to me. Do like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching Professor Vipin's YouTube channel. See you guys. Have a nice day. Bye.